just sending Jean out on an outrun and watching how she does things. I'd like to point out that livestock production practices have always been what's defined a useful dog, and different practices require different attributes. And I see a difference in dogs with a lot of Australian breeding collie dogs to probably the European dogs, but it's come about due to our different environments. So a lot of the dogs I get with a lot of the Australian breeding that are sought after, they probably have a more what I call natural gather, and probably more natural flanking to the extent that the likes of this bitch, for me, she's not very old, but she likes to overflank her stock once she's gathered them in. It's a good thing that she goes looking and gathers and tucks them in, but we need to get her a little slowed down so that she doesn't wear herself out using manoeuvres that aren't necessary to control a sheep. So this particular bitch I'm really happy with, and there's a lot of things for our country that she's going to be beneficial for. What I'm going to try and work on here once we've got these sheep up here is try to get her where she drives a little bit more, and to do that I'm going to keep her with me, and that's going to help her with what I call this excessive flanking. You can get mechanical and stop a lot of that, but then when your dog's out of sight, it's going to do what you've naturally trained it to do. So I try to blend a little bit of the mechanics with actually having her thinking about the job, and that's a timing thing, and working out how much you allow the dog to do for itself and how much you do for the dog is obviously a handler's personal preference. In trialling, you can control everything, but in general work, I need that dog to think a little bit for itself, so I probably fall in the middle of the two. I still spend a lot of time training them, but I'm probably not as strict as I should be maybe sometimes, because I just kind of like those dogs to think a little bit, and I think you need to wait and see what your dog does rather than stop it from making mistakes. I'd like to kind of let them make some mistakes and then pull them back where I need them to be. So we're just going to play around with her here and just see if I can get her to drive. And believe it or not, driving stock away and controlling this is actually still going to help her when she's bringing stock to me. It's going to help her drive better. Driving stock doesn't really have any relationship to where the handler is. It's a relationship to the stock. And if I give her a signal, she's always wanting to brake and cover. So I'm just going to keep using my whistles and let her have an opportunity to think, and then pull her back and try and get her just to be a little more direct.
Yeah. Jane.
She's settling down a lot better, this bitch. She used to want to grab stock, like she'll get a hold of cattle. I need to teach her the difference between sheep and cattle, which isn't so tricky. It's really, I just need her to only use that bite when it's absolutely necessary, whereas she used to get a bit excited and want to bite first. So having her close to a stock and letting her feel she's not threatened will help with that too. She needs to be comfortable in close to the stock and realise that she doesn't have to be aggressive all the time. I believe this bitch is going to be a handy addition to my breeding program.